Hello. Good evening. My name is Obindako. I want to share with you what is on my mind about entrepreneurship. A lot of us are talking about entrepreneurship and how there needs to be a shift of mind in terms of how people can create livelihood for themselves, which is the reality. If you look at how many people we are bringing out of the universities and the number of jobs that we are creating, the only thing that can sustain people to make meaning out of their lives is really teaching people to be confident and proud of starting their own businesses. If you move through town, you see that the people who don't have any education don't really have time, don't really mind starting something on their own. The problem is when we send people to school and then they finish school and they are waiting for somebody to get them a job. The numbers are staggering. We have a lot of universities now, a lot of them private. We are not, I should assume that we are not producing less than maybe 60, 70,000, 100,000 kind of graduates from the universities and the polytechnics alone. How about those in between, the secondary schools, the NVTIs? So there has to be a drastic change of mind as to what people should think about creating their own livelihood. If you look at all the businesses across our country, whether it's agriculture, whether it's retail, whether it's automobile sales, any section of the business sector, really the more established ones, the ones that can employ 100 people, 200 people, 300 people, are not owned by Ghanaians. The Ghanaian ones are still in the primary stages. Why is that? It means that there's something that we all have to know about entrepreneurship, and it also means that the transfer of knowledge from maybe the generations back, there was a break. I'm told that in the ages of my father, so to say, there were a lot of business people, maybe from the Ashanti regions in Accra, people who were manufacturing, those who had construction companies and things like that. But there's a break. Now, if you look around, very few people are that much entrepreneur in Ghana, especially if you send them to school. There has to be some bit of change in that, because we need people to see this field as formalized, as a need to create products, as a need to create jobs, as a need to create value, better services. We need people. I don't think we have that option that much in terms of whether we have to create businesses, whether we have to create entrepreneurs, or we don't have to. That's the only thing. The malls that they are building, we have to have people who can handle shops, who can handle retail businesses. The food that we want to eat, we have to have people who can set up processing plants. There is that need. If you leave those areas just for the foreigners alone, yes, it's an open market, and in a democratic market, the government cannot do everything. No matter what the current government is trying to do, it will still, we will still need people with this kind of mindset to set businesses up, to think. And so, what I would say is that if you're going to spend your life to start to build any business at all, look through the economy, look through the market. Don't just start anything. You meet some young guys, and what they are trying to do is just, I'm doing photo shooting, I'm doing modeling, I'm doing I'm building an application, I'm building a website for those are relevant. But if you look at the structure of the economy, the areas that we really need help may not be so much. Photo shooting, and I'm creating media, I'm creating no, we need help in the agri sector, we need help in restructuring the retail sector, we need help in the construction sector. If you look at the construction companies in Ghana, the major ones are not the ones that you say they are Ghanaian companies, So the areas that we need, real help are the areas that I think our attention should be. Those who want to be in businesses, look at that, because we need a lot of help in that. Business support businesses is really non-existent. If you are looking for somebody to help you set up a barcode system, it's almost not inexistent. If you even need a proper company to take up just your branding, it's tough. So there are a lot of areas that people can think about, and don't just think about livelihood. There is that need for us to start something, start a business. For the provision shop, which is employing one person, to grow to the next stage, we really need a mind shift. We really need that. And the way I look at it, most of the people who we have sent to school, who can use the school skills to build something, really are sitting back. The fear is too much. The fear of losing money, the fear of not succeeding, the fear of the pain that you have to go through. But people have gone through that, and they had a critical mass of their people seeing those as need, and I think that we have to see those as need in our country, where we have to push a lot of people who can read, who can write, who can do some bit of mathematics to keep trying to build businesses. And out of that, if you even happen to get 1% of us being successful in building a business that can employ 50 people, 100 people, 20 people, we will get somewhere. So you get people who come to you, they ask you, I want to start a business, but I'm working here. We have a lot of people looking for that kind of comfort too much, without looking at where the country has to go. We can't still leave this country in the hands of our children, still poor and begging and broke, and still colonial in thinking, and still employee in thinking, and still waiting for another person to come and help us set all this. Sometimes I think it's an indictment on us, on our intelligence, for us as Africans, where we always waiting for somebody to come and help us. And so the cocoa industry is the same. We need people who can think in terms of business and go there and solve real problems. Almost every sector, we still at the very primary stage. Few people are coming on board. And even the areas that we think we have set some things, you look at the businessmen, they are in bed. A lot of them are in bed with politicians, and we are not talking of those kind of businesses where people really don't care. It's just about, let me get my money and that's it. No, that's not the kind of business we are looking for. We are looking for people who are thinking of building businesses to change the dynamics of our country, the economy of our country. The employment percentages, the ratios, we have to change. And so if you're working and you have had some kind of experiences, you're needed on board. We need people to start something. And when you start and it gets tough, don't worry. Keep trying, because those are the needs that we have to have. You link it, look at the economy and look at where the problems are, and look at your expertise and look at what you can start to help this economy to grow. We need this. We need this. They're talking. A lot of people are talking too much. You move around, you see people starting their own shops. They don't look at, they're not waiting for you to write a business plan or a business proposal and those things. No, just you need to at least prove that an idea works. And you look around everywhere. We need people to structure, to start the base, because the middle is wide. Between the government and unemployment is too wide, and we need people to just look at this as a livelihood, and beyond the livelihood as a responsibility to our country, to have a generation that is thinking of solving problems across board in our generation, and living a better world for our children. The selfishness is too much, where you just start a house, just start a life, and you're just looking at the car and the house and just a small career, and being okay is too much. It's rampant, and people feel so successful with very little. And I think that's a tough thing on us, where people have very little but they still think that they have achieved a lot. Yet you look around and you see the poverty, and I'm like, so where is your success in the first place? Why are you driving Range Rover in a pothole, in an untarred road? You look at the kind of cars that people drive, and like, if you are driving these cars, where are the jobs? Where are the companies? Where are the manufacturing plants? Who are you employing? There should be something that has to change, because when people come to look at us, they think that there's something wrong with us, and it's true. Something is wrong with us. Where anybody at all can employ our people and just maltreat them anyhow, because we ourselves are not trying to solve anything. You know, so that's my bit. That's my thinking. That we have to all see it as a responsibility to solve problems, to look at where the needs of our societies are, and go in with some kind of values, with some kind of generational thinking, some kind. We don't have to wait for only some kind of people who look different from us to come into the economy and solve problems, and then we just go there. We cannot just continue to be a consumer kind of market. No matter the history that we have had, we still have a second shot. And so if you're in the college or you have finished college, look through the economy. There are problems everywhere. We like debating too much, and I think part of it is the kind of courses that we are doing in the colleges. You know, a lot of it is just about writing and copying, so people can just share their opinion, and that's it. The only people who argue about their livelihood and things that will sustain their future is Africans. We are the only people trying to argue and trying to have opinion on things that we have to live. You know, the poverty is high, the illiteracy is high. It's a burden. It's us. We have to solve this. And for me, a lot of it will call for a critical mass of people who can think in terms of entrepreneurship, you know. And the more we get the numbers to start to do something, hopefully we will get some few of them who will be able to build big businesses and help our generation and solve problems and create prosperity for our continent and for our country. And so I think people should just think differently, you know, about how the jobs, the businesses that we can start will shape the economy that we have. It doesn't matter how you start, but have that thinking. You know, we need that kind of information more than any other thing. I think the biggest problem of Africans is knowledge. Quality knowledge. We have knowledge deficit. I'm not talking of school. Because a lot of it that they are teaching us in school, even though we need us to go to school, a lot of it don't apply anymore, you know. And so the knowledge to see the problem and the ability to look for the solution is what we really need. And if you look around, they are all over. So let's think through the dignity of us starting something. And if you have gone to school and you work somewhere and they fired you, don't be sad. What is it that you learn where you are working? Start to do something. Is there milk that you can sell? Start to do something. Look, the problems are many, but you can bring in structural thinking. After a while, you will know that what I'm doing starts to make sense. And so, just as people are proud to take their CVs and look for jobs, you should also be proud to try an idea. You know, we need that shift of thinking, to try an idea and see this idea. Not just writing business plan and business proposal and keeping them down and just talking about them. No. Write an idea, have a plan, and start to do something and be proud of it. Yes, the livelihood, yes, you still have to eat in between, you still have to rent in between, and that's where it's tough. But if you really want to do it, you will do it, because when you don't have a job and you're looking for a job, you still eat anyway. You still sleep anyway. So it's the same thing. Look at it from that position, you know, look at it from that thinking, and look for it, because these things we must. Are we not tired of people just trying to look for visa and go to America and go to England and act like here nobody's responsibility? I think that if you're an African, no matter where you go, the indictment of underdevelopment is on you, no matter how much successful you are. You go anywhere in the world, they look at you and they link you to the sufferings of Africa, and they think that you are not successful. No matter, you can ride all the cars that you think you're riding, you can play in all the major leagues, but they still link you to the poverty in your village. They still link you to the poverty in Accra, the underdevelopment in Kumasi, you know, across board. So I think that as a people, in an open market, democratic market, the only solution is for people to become responsible and create something for themselves. If you're waiting for the jobs, nobody is born to create the jobs. We are the ones to create the jobs. So when you finish school, don't feel bad if you have to. Don't tell people, I don't have a job, I'm looking for a job. That's not the only burden that you have to have. Look for solutions. And the problems are so many. Look at the car sales market. It's almost not organized. Look at the renters. Look at even the construction market. Look at the mechanic market. It's all scattered. Almost everything that we have is all scattered. It's all in bits and pieces. We need a generation that will lift the game, and that generation, I think, is us. I think we should not wait for another generation to come and formalize all the things that we do, to come and create prosperity for us. It's us, and that core of shift of mind, of shift of thinking to start something, and the pride of you achieving something from nothing is what has to consume us and be responsible. You see, God is God. They say He's spiritual, but He created the physical world that we live in. So if you are that spiritual, there should be an evidence of your spirituality, which is the creation that you have made, and that is a call, I think, and that call is on all of us. If you live in a poor environment, what it means is that people die early. People are dying 35, 45, 55. Why? It's not because some demons are killing us. It's because we are not being able to take charge of the environmental position, the environment that we live in, and so it's a call on us. The more we create prosperity, the more people can live long, or longer. What is the English word? The more people can live for 70 years before they die, or 90 years before they die. But where there is a lot of poverty, people die early. You're not able to handle a lot of things that you have to handle, And so if you are able to create, we should create, and you should lead them to us. When you look around and people are dying, I feel people are dying of things that don't have to kill people. It's so pity. It's so pitiful, but it's because we think that is not our duty. And I think that if individuals, don't wait for the government, if individuals can say that I want to solve this problem in the health sector, I want to solve this problem in the education sector, I want to solve this problem in the agri sector, I want to solve this problem in the construction sector, I want to solve this problem in the banking sector. That banks operate like they're operating in England. They act like everything is perfect. They're always talking about the high cost of doing business. But it's also our duty to make sure that we help entrepreneurs to succeed. If they don't succeed and a lot of people fall off the range, they become armed robbers. They kill people. And so it's our duty. It's our duty. We should do it as our duty. You go to all these food points, food joints in our country, you see all the young girls, they sit there, the young boys, they sit there, no direction. What business can you start to give directions to these people? What business can you start to? It's not just throwing anything out there. People do movies and you wonder why this movie? What do you want to achieve? Sometimes you watch these TV stations, those many TV stations that we have in our country, around 9 o'clock and 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. and you see all these malams on TV selling what? You open TV station, there should be some sense of responsibility on your part to get a country that has to develop. You cannot just sell any product because you have to make money. So people start all these media houses and they just throw anything. Early in the morning, they are discussing football. My God. And in the afternoon, they are discussing things that don't bring any productivity to our country. And then you see these guys going to Libya and you are crying. That's hypocrisy. That is hypocrisy. Because if you put quality product on the TV, on the radio that will give these young guys direction, you will solve some bit of problem. You may not be able to solve everybody, stop everybody from going, but you'll be able to stop some few of them. So there's that sense of responsibility, and it's with all of us to look for this, because it's really getting out of hands, and it's our responsibility. So wherever you are, whatever skill that you have, there are so many things that we have to solve. We use a lot of hours doing funeral. What for? This is a continent with so many problems, and yet you go for funerals for 10 hours. People who are marrying, they are marrying with the little money they have. No, there's challenge. People need quality knowledge. People have to be able to link solutions to the problems. You look at the environment. There are things that we have to create ourselves. That we have to do a lot, and it's on all of us. Whatever product that you can bring out, whether physical, malnourished, a lot of children are malnourished. What product can you bring to solve it? So that is the mindset that we have to have. We have to change this mindset of helping, waiting for somebody to come and help us all the time. Part of it is our history, but part of it is that we have to solve solutions and create opportunities for everybody. So that is what I have to say. Thank you today for being with me. Thank you very much. Hey, what happened?